see it go live. Hi folks, Dr. Rowe here. Hope you're well. I'm basically at the office here. Actually, if I just move out the way for a minute, you can see. We're all about money today, aren't we, Colin?
We are. I love this setup.
It's a great setup,
Fantastic.
Isn't it? Yeah. So Colin and I are spending the whole day together today, and are we in focus there? We're a bit out of focus, aren't we? Hold on a minute. Oh gosh, we're actually live going in out of focus. Let me just come a bit closer, Colin. Just put your hand there. Maybe you can just. That's it, right. It's struggling a little bit, right? Maybe we need to come closer. That's it. Right. So Colin's background. Give us a minute on your background, Colin, so they know who you are. They've seen me on videos with you over the years, and you were doing some stuff on different sites. But just to remind everybody what you do.
Yeah, my background's architecture. So I've been in architecture for over 20 years. I've been investing since 2014. That's when I started learning and getting into property, essentially just for myself. But I work with clients, private clients, developers, investors, all throughout my career on all different types of projects. So residential, investment type projects. And then, 2014, we met then actually, didn't we? And essentially I've just been going from strength to strength in investment since then.
Yeah, Colin came through the whole journey of learning how to get into property from an investment perspective. What's unusual about Colin, and there's only a handful of people in this country like this, I believe, you have a vast experience as an architect, but also you've now been involved for a lot of years just building portfolio yourself.
Yeah.
And you walk into a property and don't just see it as an architect. You have all these different angles.
Yeah, that's right. Well,
from a point of view of making money, profit, how you can split the property, etc.
The key is value add. Everything we want to do is value add. So if we can take a property and we can do something different to what it is now to add value, that's essential, right? That's the smart thing we need to do. So
the reason being that capital add allows you to pull equity to sell for profit, gives you, if the market goes against you, it gives you some buffer there because you've added that profit in there already.
Yep. And at the end of the day, we as investors want our portfolio to grow in value, don't we? So you might even have existing stock that we could look at. You might actually have properties that we could turn it into something else. We could add value, maybe extensions.
Well, I played a video earlier on. You had that conversation yesterday with some solicitors who've potentially got a site.
Yeah, yesterday. So I'm out yesterday. Fantastic day. It's nice to be able to get out in the field and actually get to meet people you haven't met before. So this was a solicitor that I've been talking to in relation to another scenario, something regarding a lease on a commercial property. So off the back of that, I went to meet the solicitor. She said, I've got something I want to show you. Okay, perfect. Now, I knew I was seeing one thing about this lease, but then she said, actually, I've got another one. So out that conversation, right. I see two commercial deals yesterday, both huge potential for conversion to resi in the heart of the town centre on the coast of Kent. It is unbelievable.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
So there's a big lesson here as well. I know when I started off, sometimes you can be a bit nervous when somebody goes, I want to show you this. And you suddenly go, oh my God, that's a big project. Mm-hmm. And it's very easy as a property investor to go, oh, I'm not sure about that.
Yeah, they're not small. These are quite tasty projects.
And the instinct is to go, I'm not kind of doing that type of thing. But I think the key message here is to be receptive to it, because it might be with business partners. Like one of the things that we've been doing for some time now is looking at different opportunities. And we've got more and more people approaching us now because we're finding big projects and they've got money and they're wanting to put money into things like that. So you just have to be open to this. Although today we'll go.
I was just about to say, remember, it's not when we're structuring these deals, you might not be the one buying it.
True.
Right? So
yeah. Because one of the things you've done over the years is source property.
And at the end of the day, you're the, shall we say, broker in terms of how the deal can be structured. If you package that deal up, you don't need to know everything about property. That's the thing, right? So I'm very fortunate my career led into this. It can support what I'm doing. It can support people in terms of what they want to do in investment and us on our projects. Yeah. But you don't need to know planning and architecture. You just get somebody to plug that in and give you that knowledge, so then you can package it up. So when you find these deals, embrace them. Even if it's something that's way beyond what you're thinking of at the moment, don't be afraid of it. There's people where you can talk to. Yeah. We can package these things up. You can actually source them on, earn a good fee, and it's a deal on the table. These properties I see yesterday, they've been sitting there for 10 years.
Oh my God.
Empty.
So we're having a meeting today, and one of the things that's going to be on the agenda is that, and that's really exciting. While we've got you here, we want to talk about HMOs because that's a question that's been coming in. So, Colin, you do a lot of planning permission type work with councils, and there's a difference between an amateur investor and a professional property investor. I'm going to put up some points you gave me here. Can you just talk a little bit about some of the things to be aware of when it comes to HMOs? Because I think it's a huge opportunity for increasing people's income. We're seeing growing demand for individually room let properties, aren't we, at the moment?
100%.
Population's growing, divorce rates are increasing, people can't buy houses, so they can't even rent a whole flat or a house, so they have to rent a room.
Mm-hmm.
So I think the next 5-10 years we'll see a bigger growth in this area.
100%. And the HMOs now, they're kind of turning into something almost like called hub living, right? So it's not it's not just a HMO. People are now working at home, living in a HMO.
So elaborate on that term.
So, I mean, we've had HMOs in the industry for quite some time. We've been investing, and I'll talk a few points in a moment about what we're looking for, what I certainly look for in HMOs. But even in the HMOs that I'm looking at now more specifically, I am now looking at, well, actually, if we go a layer above this and offer more in the HMO, you'll have a stronger HMO market coming to you, because remember, offices are closing, right?
Okay, so this concept of a hub is I'm in a room in a HMO, but actually even within this facility, there's things that I would quite like to have because I'm working from home now.
And there's companies out there that are on a much larger scale. They are creating 30, 40 units. And they're almost like serviced offices within a kind of HMO environment. So you've got a work-live mix. So you don't live and work in your own room, but you can mix it up with a bit of commercial on the ground floor, allowing you
in the same way, maybe, I mean, I still remember this, having a shed that you convert to an office in your house. Now you've got somebody living in a HMO, but actually still got the same facilities.
That's right.
I actually think the biggest competition now isn't going to be, landlords against landlords. It's going to be the likes of Lloyd's and some of these big organisations that are actually buying up buildings or converting for that similar philosophy.
That's right.
And they're setting a high standard.
And remember, like, HMOs are affordable living.
Yes.
Yeah, people need to be able to afford these rooms. Right. But when it comes to working, if you're working in an office and now that office is closed, well, you know, you need to work somewhere.
Which is why we've seen cafe culture go through the roof. We're going to have a meeting today, and we're going to spend probably 3-4 hours sat in we could do it here in the office, but we're going to hang out in a cafe. If you've got a hub living situation where you've got a client and you're a HMO person living there, there's an opportunity.
I mean, you can run your business now from a laptop in a coffee shop. You can do that.
As long as you've got good Wi-Fi.
Yeah, as long as you've got good Wi-Fi, absolutely.
Right, so I've got these points here Colin gave to me. Let me just try and pull them up. I'll leave it with you, Colin. I might ask you questions, but do you want to talk to each one of these?
Yeah, that's right. So generally, these are a few things that I normally look for when I'm looking at HMOs. So if you're thinking about even some of the properties you might have now, let's look at these points, right? So room sizes are essential, right? You've got your minimum room sizes and your minimum room sizes for a single and a double, right? So you've got your 6.5, 6.6 square meters for a single. You've got your 10 square meters for a double. Right?
It's actually measured to 2 decimal places now, isn't it?
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
People need the right equipment for that.
But for instance, I was down in, where was it? Maidstone.
Yeah.
Their minimum area is slightly larger than the national.
Okay.
Right, so theirs is 11.
Is the reason is that just a personal?
I think
so. This is a challenge, by the way, you face is that council by council you do get variations.
The thing is, every council has a different approach and how they embrace HMOs because they have a stigma. Right. So if you go to Bedford, for instance, they've got such a terrible name. They've got the Article 4, but there's something called cocooing that happens. It's massive in Bedford, huge problem in terms of drugs and things like that. So it does vary. So that's where the stigma.
But that's also the old way for years HMOs were run.
Yeah. I mean,
the concept of slum landlords.
Essentially, what would happen is somebody would take a HMO, they'd rent it out, they'd rent one room to one person, fine. That person would then get a load of other people and say he's looking after the house, they look after it, but they get all of the wrong people in, and that's where it becomes a massive issue because it's environmental issues then as well as, against the rules of HMO. So room sizes, it does vary, council to council, but we want to be good landlords anyway. So we want to try and go over. You keep
talking. I've just written something down, a question I was going to ask you.
So we just want to go over that area so that people have got that space, right? So room sizes. Facilities is really important because your room size will be determined by what facilities you have in the building. So if you've got a communal dining area, an eating area, your room sizes can be the minimum 6.5 and 10 square meters.
And just on that point, don't underestimate this. If you think it'll be fine at 6.45 or whatever, actually
it's tight.
It's measured with a laser measuring device by an enforcement officer.
I've got one in my bag today.
There you go.
I carry it everywhere.
And if it's deemed that it's undersized, that room cannot now be let.
No, that's right, and it won't be valued.
Right. We had an erroneous measurement by a valuer, and actually it affected the valuation by about £15,000. So we had to go and overturn that.
That's a massive impact. So room sizes, facilities. So when we're looking at facilities, it's like, right, how do you want to live in these HMOs? We want living areas, we want dining areas, kitchen, diner, more open plan. You need appliances for every 5 people. right?
Yeah.
So it's one cooker, one oven, one hob, one fridge, etc. for every 5. Every time you go over 5, you add another appliance. But the same with bathrooms. Yeah, same with bathrooms. But you need separate WCs to shared bathrooms. This is why I like en-suites. I personally like en-suites in my HMOs. It just takes that management of the shared facilities being bathrooms away. I just prefer it, but you do pay more to put the en-suites in.
But equally, it gives that privacy as well, and you can charge a higher rent.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's talk about Article 4. You've mentioned Article 4.
Yeah, so Article 4, obviously, it's something that you guys need to check with the councils where you're investing. Does Article 4 cover HMO? Article 4 literally, in its simplest terms, removes your permitted development rights on a building. That's it.
And permitted development rights historically enabled HMO landlords to go and do work on a property without going through small ones, without the full need for planning permission.
So this is where the Article 4 issue comes in. So if you've got a 3-bed house, you want to turn it to
they were filling up their boots and just going bang, bang, bang.
Liverpool happened, right?
Yeah.
So you've got your 3-bed, you turn it into your 4-bed. Under permitted development, you're allowed to do that. But the rights have been removed with an Article 4. So you might go to a council and there's an Article 4. It may not relate to HMO.
Yeah.
Right? So people will be scared
That's
to go in.
That's a good point, actually. Because Article 4 can be on planning development of a house, but not on HMO.
So I've seen people go, it's Article 4. And I'm like, it's Article 4, but does it relate to HMO?
Yeah.
Well, actually, they haven't checked. It doesn't relate to HMO. So if you go to Crewe, for instance, and this was probably last year or the year before, there was areas, it was under Article 4, but the Article 4 related to works on your buildings under PD, not the conversion to HMO. So you could still do the HMO.
Yeah, okay. Now, the subtlety here is that there are people selling off properties in auctions with Article 4 areas, and they are for HMO. So landlords are thinking, oh shit, I've got problems here. Let me just dump this property. There's bound to be an uneducated amateur investor out there that's going to go and buy this. Somebody down the south buys a property up in Liverpool, for example, where there's an Article 4 area, and then they find out, oh shit, this is Article 4. They're scuppered, aren't they?
That's right.
They literally can't operate that property. They've just bought a property which they think is going to produce an income, but they can't actually.
Yep.
What are their choices? What, convert it back to a house or to a buy-to-let?
Or buy-to-let. But this is where you could actually look at, right, what other opportunities have you got? Can you convert it to flats? Is it big enough for flats? Can you do that in the area? Can you extend out the back and go in the roof to convert and actually add more value?
But better to do that in advance rather than buy it afterwards and think, shit.
Yeah, at the end of the day, we do sometimes invest in properties that don't work as much as or as well as what we want. What can we do as a secondary exit? Yeah, how do we do that? So
one other question, then, when you were writing, you were talking, and I wrote this down, is so tenancy agreements are really important here, because this is where, if somebody's trying to bring lots of different people in under the radar, you have to have a really strong tenancy agreement. And a tenancy agreement on a buy-to-let is different to a HMO because it's an individual tenancy agreement. So those agreements are really important.
And the thing is, there's a number of ways you can do it. You can actually do almost like an agreement between all parties within the HMO. If you know all of those that are moving in, you can almost put it under one agreement, or you do it individually.
Students, it works well like that, actually.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
But with a tenant that might say, oh, do you know what, I'll fill your rooms for you. That's fine, but you need to know who they're putting in, and this is where the issues can come about. And I didn't know about cocooing until I got to Bedford, till I did an application, till I was at committee, and I was talking about it, and honestly, the reaction from the council on cocooing, which I really wasn't too up to speed on because it's more of a police issue, I was like, wow. And then I dived into that and realise what cocooing is, and cocooing comes from the word cuckoo, because a cuckoo steals things and puts it in a nest.
And it just shows you how, it doesn't matter how long you've been in the industry, all these phraseologies come in. I went into one years ago, and it was near Manchester, just outside Manchester, and there was like 14 tenants in a property that should probably have only had about 6, and they'd just simply taken rooms and put partitions down, thin rooms with a bed, totally being run illegally. And that's what they're trying to outlaw.
And the thing is, it also stems from some London-based landlords that were doing it. They had a number of properties that they were doing over London. And what happened at the time, before it all really got regulated, this was many, many years ago, decades ago, suddenly the council had all these people living in accommodation that wasn't suitable. There was no real solid regulations to basically protect people living in HMOs. And so suddenly the council were in a rock and a hard place, because the landlord was like, okay, I'll get rid of them. Where do you want them? Council can't put them anywhere. And so that's when it all started to come out, right, let's regularise this. And let's actually put regulation.
And actually, those of you in Scotland watching this, it's even tied to that. That happened years ago with some bars that were on on the windows of a HMO as a fire, and this guy put bars there. And so in Scotland it gets even tighter. But look, thanks for coming. We've got to go off now. We've got a business meeting. So hopefully that was useful to everybody. Have a great day and look out for some more videos. I'm going to be grabbing Cole when he's out and about on his camera as well. So we'll do some live presentations that way as well. Thanks, Cole.
Thanks. Bye.